Measurements are entered in different ways according to the type of units you are using. We will review unit settings and then convert an existing drawing from imperial to metric and then back again. Open the Office Plan sample file and then type UN for units and press Enter. This drawing is currently set to use architectural units. Architectural units are set up to accept values in feet and inches, which are part of the imperial system of measurement. Let's change the precision to ½ inch. This means that linear measurements will be rounded off to the nearest ½ an inch, but it doesn't mean that the precision of AutoCAD internally is compromised. It merely means that we're going to round off linear measurements to the nearest ½ inch. Angular degrees use different units. Decimal degrees is the most common choice, but if you're working with surveyor data, you might choose one of these other options. If you're measuring with surveyor's units, you also need to change the direction of the coordinate system. Surveyor's units are measured from true north. East is typically chosen for most people because this is the convention of 0 degrees is to the right, or in the east direction. I'll leave east selected and I'll go back to use decimal degrees. This controls content that's inserted as a block, and inches is the correct choice here for architectural units, so I'll leave this alone. You can also select the units you want to use when you're making renderings of 3D models. I'll leave this set to international and click OK. Now I'll zoom in by rotating the mouse wheel forward, and then I'd like to draw a line using imperial units. Click the Line tool and then specify an arbitrary first point. Then go ahead and type in a value like this, 3 feet, using the apostrophe symbol next to the Enter key, and then type 6-1/2. What this means is 3 feet 6½ inches. The dash is necessary as a delimiter between the inches and the fractional inches. Without it, you'd either have 61 halves, or you'd have a space which would terminate this part of the command. Remember, the spacebar is equivalent to the Enter key. So the dash is necessary in imperial units when you're separating inches from fractions of an inch. So then I'll press Enter to specify that point. And now I've successfully drawn a line segment measuring this precise distance, 3 feet 6½ inches. I'll press Enter and then Enter again. Let's draw one more line in architectural units. I'll draw another line of the same length, but I'll enter it in a different way. I'll type 3 feet 6.5. This is acceptable. You don't have to use fractions. You can use decimal fractions of an inch. So I'll press Enter and Enter again. So I've drawn 2 lines of the same length. Now let's measure an existing distance here. I'd like to know how wide this door is. I'll click the Measure tool. Make sure that Object Snap is on, and click these 2 endpoints, here and here. The distance is 3 feet 0 inches. Let's keep that in mind. Now I'd like to convert this drawing to metric. So the first thing you need to do is change the units. Type UN, Enter, and then change the type to decimal. Change the insertion scale to your choice. In this case, I think I'll choose centimeters. And then I'll say OK. I'll measure this distance again. And it says 36.0. So even though it's in decimal units, it's really the same size. And really, these are inches now, not centimeters. So we're missing something. And that something is we need to scale the entire drawing by a scale factor in order to truly convert it from imperial to metric. So click Scale on the Modify panel. It says Select Objects. Type in All and press Enter. And then press Enter one more time to exit the Select Objects prompt. It says Specify Base Point. Type in 0, 0 to indicate the origin point. And then the scale factor is 2.54 because there are 2.54 centimeters per inch. Press Enter and zoom out a bit by rotating the mouse wheel. And then measure the distance here. From this point to this one measures 91.4. This is actually the correct value in metric for this 3-foot opening. We can verify that by typing in Quick Calc. And then you can scroll down here and convert the value of 3 feet to centimeters, and you get 91.44. When we measured the distance, it rounded it off to 91.4 because of the precision setting that we had selected earlier. Let's just go to Units, increase that precision all the way to the maximum, and measure that distance again. We get 91.44 exactly. So we've successfully converted this drawing from imperial to metric. Now let's go the other way. Let's convert this back to imperial. So if you're starting with a metric drawing, the first thing you need to do is change the units. So UN, enter, set it back to architectural, change your insertion scale to inches, and click OK. Then scale, SC, enter is an abbreviation for that command. Select objects. We want everything, so we'll type all, enter, and then enter again to exit the select objects prompt. The base point will again be the origin point, so that's 0, 0. I'm specifying the x and y coordinates here. Press enter, and then we need a scale factor. And for this we need 1 over 2.54. But we can't enter that here on the command line. We have to use the calculator to help us. I'll say 1 divided by 2.54 equals this value. I'll click this button to paste that value to the command line, and then press enter. The whole drawing was scaled by that factor. Now let's zoom in and measure that same opening to see what distance we have. I'll use the measure command, click these 2 points, and the measurement is exactly 3 feet. So we have successfully converted a metric drawing to imperial. So in this lesson, you learned how to configure units and how to convert drawings between imperial and metric systems.